Kloppzone HQ, Liverpool FC Daily News Roundup. As you can see down here, brought to you daily, 9:30 a.m. every single day, British Standard Time in the UK. So I don't know what time that is where you are, but we'll be coming live at 9:30 every single day with the Liverpool News Roundup, brought to you by myself and G Keeping It G. So before we get into the news, let's get you hyped. It's time to run the Kloppzone intro. Let's go. Yes, what better way to start off the morning than that intro? Mike just does it every time with those beats. But today, for the news, I am joined by no other than the birthday boy from yesterday, Mr. G, Keeping It G. How are you, G? You feeling good?
I am feeling gravy, bro. I'm happy to be back and I'm happy to be streaming again, bro, man. How are you?
I'm very, very good. And like we said, we're going to bring you this show every single day, just breaking down the world of LFC and the news surrounding our lovely, beloved Liverpool Football Club. But before we get into any news, we look at the last three results, not the greatest results. G, we play Napoli tomorrow. Are you expecting nothing but a win in the Champions League opener?
No. Napoli is going to be a difficult place to go, to be honest with you. And they've kind of, I wouldn't say they've had our number, but they're a difficult team to face. And I think with the form that we're in at the moment, it doesn't really look too good. But hey, stranger things have happened. Stranger things have happened. No pun intended.
Stranger things have happened. But what we want to do, we want to bring you some injury news surrounding Liverpool Football Club. So let's to the injury news straight away. So look, still got players that are injured. We've got Thiago potentially returning back to training today. Carvalho still unsure on Carvalho. Took a knock in the last game. Henderson been reported to 3 weeks. Still left on the injury. Might return on the 1st of October. Obviously, even if they were fit, Naby Keita, Oxlade-Chamberlain not included in Liverpool's Champions League squad. Ibu Kanate, come back, please, Beast. We need you back. Get back. G, even if Carvalho is fit, even if Thiago's in training, not really expecting to see them tomorrow, are we?
Nah, I don't think we're gonna. It just might be a bit too soon, and to have your first game away to Napoli he'll put him on the bench most likely if he's fit enough for that. Which begs the question: if he's fit enough for the bench, is he fit enough to start? But it'll be interesting to see what Klopp does with that selection. I think that selection tomorrow is going to be very interesting because, like I said, Napoli are a good team. You know, we can't go there with a weakened squad, but we can only go there with what we have available, to be honest.
So true. Carvalho picking up the knock last game. Henderson out till October. These injury things just keep racking up and racking up. Do you think potentially tomorrow, with all the midfield injuries, we may see a debut for Arthur Melo?
100%, bro. Like we signed him. You know what I mean? We signed him for this very situation, you know, in regards to, you know, having players out and things like that. If we don't see him, it's gonna start asking a lot of questions as to why did we sign him in the first place.
We are going to be asking a lot of questions, but that is the injury news. As you've just seen, still out, potentially returning Thiago, still out Kanate, Keita, Henderson, Oxlade, or should I say Alex in Wonderland. Ramsey as well. Ramsey, we're still looking to see him, G. We want to know what Ramsey can bring to Liverpool Football Club. He has been in training, but Klopp's come out and said they're not sure when he's going to be featuring. They're not sure when he's going to be back in the squad. We really need him at the minute to push Trent, don't we?
Yeah, man. It's weird as well because, you know, it was kind of, you know how Liverpool are. They're so hush hush with their information, especially injuries. Why? I don't know. Maybe they don't. It's almost like giving the opponent an edge, knowing what players are available or not. But with the way that Trent's form is just in the mud right now, we definitely need someone else there, to be able to just push him. And you never know. Like, we love Trent. Listen, I love Trent, and I think he's a fantastic player. But if there's another player who's already waiting in the wings who can come in and help, let's get him in. Let's get him in.
Let's get him in, indeed. More news, and it features this guy, the one we all love to hate at the minute, I suppose. It doesn't matter if you're FSG in, or FSG out, or FSG upside down, whatever you are, we cannot complain about the revenue at Liverpool, because it shows that the financial football analysts off the pitch revenues have estimated that revenues at Anfield will reach a club record £602.1 million from last season. This is 20.7 million higher than United's predicted revenues of 581.4 million. The first time ever, G, that we've surpassed Manchester United. But G, the question is, do you care about the revenues if nothing is coming back into the squad?
You know the answer to that one, to be like, it is one of those, like, as we've always stated, and I think most people will probably agree, on the business side of things, FSG are very good. Like, they know what they're doing when it comes to business. I cannot fault them for that. The unfortunate thing is I don't feel that they know too much about the footballing side, because if they did, then we would have a lot more investment in the first team squad, especially in areas that we clearly need it in. So business side, amazing. Footballing side,
yeah, not too good. But they've turned the things around. We are a club now worth 3 billion. We were bought for 300 million. Everyone's going to throw this back in our faces. They want to say, oh, Liverpool, they're worth so much. They've turned us around. They've got us to where we are, trusting FSG, trusting Klopp. But the fact of the matter is 602 million in revenues last season. That's not sales of players. That's just revenues from maybe shirts, maybe tickets, everything. But that's not players. We've spent, G, 8.14 million net on transfers. That is embarrassing when you're one of the richest clubs in the world turning over these massive revenue returns.
100%, man. And we'll probably, like, in another time we'll get into that, to be honest. But yeah, like, for your net spend to be that, and you're supposedly like trying to fight for titles and things like that, I'm not going to say it's impossible, because knowing Liverpool, some miracle will probably happen and they will do well. But the reality is, in hindsight, and to be honest, it's not a sustainable, successful model for winning trophies. It's successful for getting in top fours, staying relevant. But when staying relevant and actually winning are two different things. Manchester United are relevant, but they haven't won anything in ages. So, is that the route that we want to go down? Do we want to go down the Manchester United route of just being relevant because we make a lot of money, or do we actually want to win? And I think that's a question for the owners to decide themselves. Are you trying to be winners, or are you just trying to be competitors? If you want to be competitors, you keep doing what you're doing, because what you're doing is absolutely fine. Do you know what I mean? We're making a lot of money. As you say, we bought for 300 million. We're now worth just over 4.67 billion. That's amazing work. That that can't be understated. But the reality is, what that's brought is one title and one Champions League. Is that deemed successful? I don't know. Subjective, I guess.
It really is. Some people are going to be divided. They might like the way we move. They might like us being competitive. This might be good for them that the club is still regarded as top class. They're turning over. They're not looking at debts. People might like that. I like trophies, personally. That's what I like. Like debt, no debt. I like trophies. Barcelona fans, they ain't going to be bothered about their debts if they get trophies. And that's what it all comes down to. But we are going to bring you a show in more detail about the revenues, about FSG, about the financial side of Liverpool Football Club. So please stay tuned. That's going to come either later today or tomorrow. But news coming out of the camp, a lot of people confused about No Curtis Jones and Elliott in the squad. They are in the Champions League squad. They're on the B list. Now, B list means homegrown players under the age of 23, I think it is. They don't need registering in the Champions League squad. They're eligible to play because they've played so many matches for the club before. So it's like a free hit, basically. They get to be included within your squad as a homegrown player. Champions League training does commence today at 11:45. So we may come back with a news show later on to give you a bit of a roundup on what has happened in training, who we've seen. Maybe we'll see Thiago in there. Maybe we'll see Carvalho back in training. So we will bring that news to you later on. But let's move on to somebody who everybody thinks he's going to start the game tomorrow. The one, the only, Mr. Reliable, James Milner. You know what? I really hope he's got a middle name. It would be so fitting if his middle name was like Rupert or Arnold or Arthur.
I want to find out. I'm sure
we need to find out if he's got a middle name. James Rupert Milner. That's what we'll call him for today. James Milner. Big up to him, G, in all fairness, because 600 Premier League appearances at the weekend. That's a mean feat. That's somebody that keeps themselves on the top of the professional game, keeps themselves fit, looks after their body, 36 years of age, soon to be 37 in January. But, G, I don't need a 36, 37-year-old playing in my starting 11 unless their name is Luka Modric or Cristiano Ronaldo. Are you with me on this?
You know I'm with you on this, bro. I mean, listen, what I will say, I'll start off with the positive. 600 Premier League appearances, that's amazing. And I remember watching James Milner debut. Like, that's probably showing my age, but I remember watching his debut and thinking, he's a decent player. And then, making moves, Newcastle, Villa, obviously then to Manchester City before Liverpool. Like, if you're talking about a professional, and I've said this to many people, if you want to be a professional football player, watch James Milner. He is, in my opinion, probably the ultimate professional. He's 36, as you said, soon to be 37, and he is still at one of the best clubs in the country. You know what I mean? So he's doing something right, along the line. But, in answer to into the second part, I think he is nowhere near good enough to be in the squad. I don't actually blame him. I can't blame him because of the situation that's going on at the moment with all the midfielders being out. But I mean, if your name is not Luka Modric, Iniesta, Cristiano Ronaldo, Messi, I don't want to see you in the squad at that age because you're not really benefiting the squad in that terms. It's just more about having a body in there. And I would prefer to see some of the youngsters, to be honest with you.
Yeah, we need to start managing Milner. Like, we're not saying we don't want to see Milner at all. What we are saying is that, like Man City with Fernandinho, manage his game time because, yes, there might be games when we need that intensity, when we need that leadership from the bench.
Philip.
Well done. Yes, his name is Philip. It's James Philip Milner. That's the name of someone that when you went to school, they were good at cricket, good at athletics, good at football. They were just good at everything. Cross country. He was definitely good at cross country. Yeah. He's someone that you love to hate in school, isn't it, G? One of those James Philip Milner, always in the teachers' teams.
He was, it reminds me of someone in school like that. To be, I'm not going to name any names because he's probably watching.
Name names.
No, but like I said, look, ultimate professional, and that cannot be understated. And I don't want people to forget that about James Milner. But that's in the past. We're in the future. This is 2022, and if you still got James Milner in your squad, something ain't right. I'm sorry.
Something ain't right. Do you know why? I was looking at the scrolling banner, then I was like, Liverpool 1-1, Newcastle. No, it wasn't. It was 2-1. So I've changed that score at the bottom. I don't want to give us that much discredit. But we want to move on to the last part of the show. We spoke about Milner, injury news. We spoke about JW Henry, but we've got a little bit of transfer news. I know the transfer window is shut. I know we only brought in a few players. We didn't really replace the players we wanted to. But this guy was a big talk on everybody's lips in the transfer window. Moses Caicedo scored at the weekend, G. just to piss Liverpool off a little bit more.
100.
He looks like a bit of a player. He looks like he's got potential. Now, the whispers are that Liverpool are looking to maybe seal that deal in the January transfer window, get something done early to bring him in either in January or let him stay on loan at Brighton till the end of the season and then bring him in next season. As a squad player, if it's not just him coming in, if he's not the main focus, he could be a good little squad player, couldn't he? Young, could learn from Fabinho. But if we're putting our hopes on Caicedo as this midfielder everybody's asking for, that's not the signing that we all want to see, is it?
100%. And even to that point you just made there, I keep saying I want to reiterate the points, is because I want people to understand more where you're coming from as well and where we're all coming from. It's not about what we want at the end of the day, because at the end of the day, it's what Jurgen Klopp wants, for which is best for the team. I think it's just more about things like signing Arthur Melo. If we had signed him alongside a Barella, as an example, there wouldn't be such, I don't know, say disappointment, but skepticism with a signing like that, trying to figure out what does he do, all these kind of things, because your understanding of the fact that you've signed the actual midfielder that will come in and actually improve the team. And then now you've got someone alongside him who can almost just rotate within that, but also provides the body that we need. And I think Caicedo, he fits into that mold where sign him, he looks like a decent player, but he cannot be the only sign. We need, I would say, about 3 midfielders next season anyway. So if you're signing him, I expect, if Liverpool are serious, I expect them to do big signings next summer, as we've been told for the last 4 summers, alongside Caicedo. And then also it lessens the pressure. We keep putting so much pressure on these kids, Harvey Elliott, Fabio Carvalho, potentially now Caicedo. It's like they don't need that level of pressure. They're not that echelon of player. They're not an Mbappe. They're not a Lionel Messi, a Haaland, like when they were obviously Messi when he was young. They're not of that level. Let's let them bed in and allow them the time to improve as players, but also still be in and around like the first team squad.
So true. And at the same time, if Klopp is putting his hopes on these young players and he doesn't want to bring anybody in because he's happy with these young players, then put them in. Show us what they've got. Because if you think they're ready, let's see if they're ready. Put them in, see if they can perform, because you're putting the hopes on them. Prove us wrong. Put the young players in, Carvalho, Elliott. Let's see what they can do now this season, because we've not brought anybody in. Let's see what they can do. We talk about Arthur as well, or Arthur Melo, as some people might want to say. We were all thinking loan deal, gone at the end of the season. If he performs well, there is a potential to make that deal permanent. Is he one that we weren't excited about at first, G, but no, thinking about his attributes, looking at the way Liverpool have potentially been playing and what we miss in that midfield at the moment, he could maybe bring a little bit of a spark back to Liverpool if he plays the way that we hope he can.
I think, that's the key right there. If he plays the way we hope he can, then we've got a player cheap, in my opinion, 37.5 million euros, I think, which is payable over 2 years as well, which is literally right up FSG's street, in terms of structuring deals and things like that. So I don't mind it. Like, if he turns out to be good, fantastic, sign him. Bring him in. He would have already been embedded to the squad, and then you're only looking at potentially adding 2 more midfielders, which then lessens the search, for more midfielders and things like that. Even if, for example, let's say we sign Arthur Melo and we sign Caicedo, then you're only looking at one big midfield in terms of like transfer outlay. Then you're looking at a big midfielder, but that's fine. Do you know what I mean? I don't know how much Caicedo would cost anyway, but then you're looking and thinking, okay, we're going somewhere. There's a level of intent. And I think that is the key from Liverpool at the moment. They've not shown any level of intent moving forward. It seems like I'm seeing the buzzword transition, which I do find a bit embarrassing considering we were supposedly so close to completing football last season, but in about less than 10 games, we've gone from completing football to being in a transition. It doesn't really make any sense, but if these are the signings that, will help us to move forward, bring them in, man. Bring them in. And I'm intrigued to see how Arthur does. Or Arthur.
Arthur Melo. I'm so
Arturo.
intrigued to see how well he does. Hopefully he gets a chance. Breaking news coming out of Liverpool, though, is that from Neil Jones, Liverpool journalist, Thiago is set to travel to Italy with Liverpool, with the squad, ahead of tomorrow's clash at the Stadio Diego Armando Maradona. So, more positive news. Thiago's probably that guy that we all want to see back in the squad. We can see a massive gaping hole in that midfield when he's not there, a massive drop in class. But, he's just come back from injury. This game tomorrow, it's not really a big game, in my opinion. The first game of the Champions League, like I've said, you can win 50% of your games or lose 50% of your games, whichever way you want to look at it, but still win the Champions League trophy. So risking Thiago tomorrow isn't something that I necessarily want to see. Keep him at AXA, build his muscles up a bit, get him fit, because we've got some big games coming up in the league.
100%. And unfortunately, I know people won't like me saying this, but he's proved to be a little bit unreliable in that sense. So I would guard against throwing him in. But the problem is he's literally the only genuine quality midfielder that we actually have. So you're stuck between a rock and a hard place. It's like we need him, and we need him really badly considering the form that we're in. But I'm so worried about putting him in any game. To be honest, even putting him in any game, I'm like, I don't want to, because he'll get injured or he'll pull up or little things like that. But it's evident we miss him a lot. So it's, like I said, catch-22. Catch-22. So we'll see kind of how it goes with him.
Yeah, it really is. And that's more or less the roundup of news today. We've touched base on the injury news. Henderson out till potentially the Brighton game. Same as Kanate. We look at Thiago. Thiago returned to training, should travel with the Liverpool squad. Alex in Wonderland is somewhere in Wonderland still on the injury table. Ramsey not being risked. Not much coming out of the camp in regards to Fabio Carvalho. Liverpool Football Club have turned over record revenue returns. 602.1 million predicted. More than Manchester United for the first time in our history. So stuff you Red Devils. Put that one in your pipe and smoke it. But I don't want to big up J.W. Henry right now, so I'm not going to milk it that much. And also the man that ages like a fine wine, Mr. James Philip Milner. We've got his middle name in there now. James Philip Milner, 600 Premier League appearances, which I just find absolutely insane. And if you want to know the players ahead of him, Frank Lampard on 609, Ryan Giggs 632, and Gareth Barry 653. Please don't let Milner finish his career with the most, because I don't want to see him another 53 times. I'll tell you that for free. But we love you, James Milner, and congratulations. Let's see if he makes the squad tomorrow. And more transfer news. Potential signing. Moses Caicedo could be completed in January. Talks potentially still ongoing. So we'll see how that one pans out. And Arthur Melo could stay at Liverpool on a permanent deal once his loan deal is done. And that is it today, G, for the news. But we do have something else coming today, because Liverpool launched the kit yesterday. So all 3 kits, G, are now out. We've got a show a little later today on that one, haven't we?
Yeah, man. It's going to be interesting. I know, speaking of fair in regards to kits in a general sense, it's going to be interesting to dive into some of these kits, especially even looking at some of the old retro kits that we used to have as well. Like, I miss those kits. I really do.
We're going to take a look at some retro kits too. We're going to talk about all-time kits. We're going to rate the 3 kits that are out this season. But that has been Liverpool and Kloppzone HQ Liverpool Daily News Roundup. Please join us again tomorrow at the same time, 9:30 a.m. But until next time, G, it's been a pleasure. You'll never walk alone. Peace, people.